Hi, this is Billy Selagane, the founder and president of Global Conference Television. We are an African-based learning platform that is intent is to give to the African continent high and powerful relevant content that can be used to transform people's lives and impact the continent positively. We travel around the world searching for the best teachers that gives us good content. But while we do travel around the world to search for great content, we also have home-brewed maestros, guys that have walked the path, that have got amazing content that they'll share with you. And today, it's an honor and a privilege for me to be interviewing a great friend of mine, a man who's been my writing coach, who's been checking my very flawed English to make it into acceptable English. He's none other than Jacques De Villiers. Good afternoon, Jacques.
Hey, good afternoon, Billy. Thanks for having me on the show.
It's a pleasure. Jacques, you know, today we are in the PSA convention, and suddenly you were the sensei, for a lack of a better word, of a thing called PechaKucha. Please tell our viewers what PechaKucha is, its origin. What is it? What was it? I mean, it was like surprising, but tell it, give it to us.
So PechaKucha is a way to communicate in bite-sized chunks, as it were. Basically, you do a 6-minute, 40-second speech, and it's 20 slides. 20 seconds of slides, which gives you 6 minutes 40. And it started in Tokyo in 2003, February, and it's now moved to 800 cities.
Wow.
And the Johannesburg PechaKucha was not founded, but Bronwyn Hesketh took it over. She saw it in Cape Town, and she saw 600 people attending this thing, and she was totally enchanted and blown away by it. So she tried to get the PechaKucha license, but somebody already had it. And they were doing an okay job, but they were getting like 60 to 90 people on. And she waited about a year, and eventually PechaKucha from Tokyo said, would you like to take it? And the very first one, which was a couple of months ago, she got 400 people on it. So it was a big success, and she did another one just recently. It didn't get as many, about 200 people, but it was just before a public holiday.
Okay.
But it's still a great concept, and really, the idea is to communicate concisely, because I think we're quite long-winded, particularly.
Now, what's the difference? Now, the timing is quite fascinating, because we've got TED, we've got PechaKucha, and then we've got Toastmasters, who also Toastmasters. You know, they say 7 minutes.
Yeah.
You've got to give so many slides and whatever. So what's the difference between TED Talk, PechaKucha, and the Toastmaster concept?
Okay, well, just in terms of TED, the timing's different. It's 15 to 18 minutes. But with TED, you don't need to use a PowerPoint presentation, and you can do it as you want. This one, it actually forces you 20 slides, and it's automatic, so you have no control. Once you've set it up, you have to go to the next slide every 20 seconds. And obviously Toastmasters is the 7-minute, but there you don't really use PowerPoint or any kind of visual aids. It's normally your first 10 speeches you do without PowerPoint.
So if I may ask you, for seasoned speakers, what value would PechaKucha add on how they do things?
Well, remember, sometimes, and you probably had the same experience, where you have an hour talk and suddenly the MD goes on and on and on.
I've had an hour talk that became a 30, that became a 45 minutes, that became a 35 minutes, that became a 30, that became a 20, and just before I go on stage, they say, Mr. Selagane, we have a crisis. Can you do this in 15 minutes?
Well, and a true professional would be able to do it in 15 minutes, so this will help you bring your message. Can you do that same message in an hour in 6 minutes 40? And to practice that skill is to make your language more concise, is to become sharper.
To really become sharper. So you guys are doing it with
because I find a lot of speakers, you know, they kind of use PowerPoint as they look at it, they waffle a bit, they go off point. This thing you can't go off point. So it's a great discipline. I'm not saying it's replacing anything, but it adds to the speaking arsenal, and it gives you a different kind of skill. It makes you more flexible. It's a discipline.
Okay, now let's talk about you. Jacques is an author, he's a think tank in the writing space, you write amazing blogs. So tell us, what can a speaker do to raise their profile by writing blogs? What is the frequency? What subjects do they write on? Do they co-write, or do they do it on their own? How do you look at it?
Well, firstly, I suppose the word speaker, we just need to unpack that. It's really an expert, because you're an expert, you're a subject matter expert, and who happens to speak, train, facilitate, coach, and also consult. So you want to pick a lane, whatever your subject matter is, and then you want to write about that. What you're doing is you're raising your profile as an expert. So if people have a choice between speaker A and speaker B, but speaker A has 50 blogs and really knows his subject, and speaker B has nothing, the chances are that you'd probably go for speaker A because it seems to be more of an expert, and he's put a bit more effort in and what have you.
Now here's a trick. Can you multiple blog? Can you take 5, 6 subjects and blog on those subjects? Because blogging on those subjects because you're serving different audiences. Some is B2B, some is B2C. Can you do that? Is it safe or is it unsafe?
No, you can do that. I mean, you just, on blogging platform, to be a bit technical, you have categories. So you can have your 6 categories, and you just slot your articles into whichever article you write. But you probably want to hold it together with a core theme.
Okay.
So, I help small business, but within small business, you can write about sales as a separate issue, marketing, presentation skills, whatever the case. So you want to hold it together with a central theme, but you can write on a variety of subjects.
Okay, very cool. Now, you've been doing writing for a couple of years, and now we see that the speaking industry has, like any industry, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But one of the troubling things about the speaking industry is you've got guys who are becoming mercenaries, coming in for the money, making some very ridiculous claims. Now, I want you to tell me how a speaker could stay authentic and true and respectful to the craft, the message, and to the audience.
Well, that's a difficult one because, as you know, we have had people come over, they come for the money, and just that's what it's about. And some of us will sell our soul for, because sometimes you've got to put food on the table. But how do you be authentic? Well, once again, I suppose pick a lane. Be passionate. Does this thing turn you on? I mean, do you believe it? I mean, do you believe you can change people? And obviously practice what you preach. So it's sometimes hard because you can see people making good money but by being inauthentic, and I suppose that's what the definition of courage is, that you still stick to your guns even though it's not to your advantage. Yeah, absolutely. But you stick to your guns, and I suppose here's a test of authenticity. Are you prepared to go to the street if it doesn't work? Are you prepared? Is this message that you really believe that you don't have a plan B? This is your plan A, and this is the message you have for the world.
One of the things that, as you know, we get people calling us, they want to speak thousands of times, and most of them is a romantic idea. And I usually say to them, go to Park Station. Park Station is a very big station. There are a lot of people. Get a friend of yours with a video or a phone, start speaking, and bring me that footage, and then we can start from there. And guess what happens? Gone. They never come back. Because then you can see if it was just a fluffy emotional thing, because there's a perception of beautiful things flying around the world, which they think happens overnight. Now, in closing, I want you to share with our viewers 3 things that you believe that a speaker who's in the game should do to increase their profile by blogging, by writing, and by using social media.
Okay. So if I had to cut any social media, I'd cut all of it out except for LinkedIn. That is probably the most important one, because that's where your big market is. So get onto LinkedIn, write a great profile, and the profile shouldn't be about you, it should be about what you can do for the customer. So that's the first thing. If you're going to look at social media, obviously get your name out there on all the other social media, but if you had to pick one, in my opinion, it would be LinkedIn in terms of the speaking game. Second, become an expert. Read as much as you can about your field, because you never know enough, and blog about it. And also, don't be greedy and just put your stuff on, because it gets quite boring. Get other industry experts and bring them in to give their insights. And the other thing, if you want to become a really great speaker, because we've just mentioned it, people want to just speak. What you see on stage is probably 20 years of hard graft. People that have got themselves coaches, that have done 100 free talks. Go and do the work, because it looks easy when you see a seasoned professional like Billy do it, but I can tell you something, it's not easy. You put in blood, sweat and tears and a lot of money to get where he has. And if you're not prepared to put in the work, don't even go here, because it is not as sexy as it looks. And if you don't practice enough, if you don't know your craft, you will crash and burn, and that is one hell of an ego blow, and you'll go back to whatever it is. So my suggestion is really, I suppose, the 5 Ps. Proper planning prevents poor performance. Go and do the work, and there's nothing else that I can say about it. Do the work, practice as much, do the free talks. The money will come someday.